to say thank you to the secretaries of the states, Mr. Rabelo and Madame Monteiro. It's very important that you have the representatives from the government present today, and the dialogue is clear. Thank you very much for the kind invitation, and good morning everybody in Portugal who are present in this virtual meeting. Greetings from Helsinki. We have dark here and we are waiting for snow, and good luck. We are going heading to the Christmas and spring. So let's start with the presentation. Some words about the situation where we are living and facing today. We are living with much uncertainty. COVID-19 pandemic is reality for us all. Countries around the world are starting. Please go not further with the slides, please, no. Countries around the world are starting the long journey of recovery from the pandemic. We sport people and sport movement are ready to contribute to rebuild a more human-centered and inclusive society. Sport and physical activity contribute directly to the physical and mental health and to combat non-communicable diseases. We can say sport can save lives. Sport has a great social significance by being the glue which bonds communities together. Sport promotes inclusive societies because all too often sport is the only activity that unites people regardless of their social, political, religious, and cultural background. Such inclusivity is even more important in otherwise deeply divided societies. And I think that this your forum, it's the time to organize it. It's excellent. So once more, I thank you for the trust and kind invitation to be the keynote speaker in the Portugal's national event, All In Towards Gender Equality in Sport. I congratulate you for steps forward. Actions matter. I wish that you will include all important national stakeholders in this process. It benefits the whole society and sport movement. So please now, next slide. It is said, life is a journey, not a destination. I probably choose my destination with sport already very, very young. In my thinking, leading positions is not the target. It is the first step to action and gives one the possibility to influence and work to change things. I have spent nearly all my life in sport. Everything started in my own sport club as I was 4 years old girl. My dreams and my values have influenced my leadership. I was quite good in many sports, but I was more interested in leadership. Many of my role models and national network gave me courage. Many of them are in gender equality matters internationally well-known personalities, like Professor Margaret Talbot, Dr. Anita White, Professor Celia Breckenbridge, Professor Kari Fasting, Doctors Karel Oglesby and Chris Shelton, and also my dear friend Kristina Turie from Sweden. And of course, there have been also men who have helped me and supported me. Earlier IOC member Mr. Peter Thalberg from Finland, and the ENGSO honorary president Bengt Sevelius, but also the ENGSO honorary president Carlos Cardoso from Portugal has pretty much helped me during my career. So the cooperation with Portugal has always been great and good. Slide 3, please. In my thinking, everyone has right to play. Sport belongs to everyone, regardless of ethnicity, culture, religion, sex, or social class. Everyone should have an equal possibility to take part in sport in every area and every level. I asked myself how to tackle this theme. What are the relevant questions that we need to ask to welcome and empower all in sport? How to take advantage of the existing declarations, conference, agreements, and statements, political decisions, and guidelines? What can we do to make it happen? Next slide, please. When I started my leadership career, I used to a saying of Dr. Martin Luther King, I have a dream. I still use it. I dream that sometime in the future, all girls and boys, men and women, shall have equal opportunities to participate in sport. I guess that your Secretary of State, Madame Monteiro, spoke from the citizenships overview. We know that the gap between rich and poor people is growing. So my question is, can everybody take part in the sport today? Is it too expensive, for example, for poor family children who can be talented, very, very talented? And the other thing is that I think moreover we must be given equal rights to make decisions concerning sport. Next slide, please. So actions matter, dreams matter, you need courage for that, you need strength, and you have to be united. The most important thing in my life has been my values. And my values I got already from my family home. Now I try to give some examples for you how to go further with this theme. So please, next slide. I see it's very important that you have the common purpose to the work. So I don't repeat, you can read yourself, but you had already decided to build up an action plan at the national level from grassroots to elite sport. And then to build up a medium-term plan from 2020 to 2024. And what I underline, it's important to work together. So the goal is for you clear. How to reach that? How to reach that? So this process gives you an opportunity to engage all the people who are interested in the process. Decision makers should also represent all ages, and social groups in order to guarantee a pluralistic sport culture. That's fantastic that you are now starting to do it, because this COVID-19 will change the sport movement. I am pretty sure of that. And now you have the possibility to follow the situation and discuss also what has happened in your country and how you will go further. So during my career, I have been taking part in many, yes, please, that's right. Thank you for changing that. Great stuff there. Taking part in very many conferences, meetings, forums, and so on. 2004, I was in Paris in the European Women and Sport Conference. Friends, no, please, come back, please. One slide back, please. One slide, this, please, yes. One slide back, please. Backwards, please. Here. This is the right one. So it was stated in Paris that modern sport organizations need both genders for good governance. And now here is the key word, good governance. Our societies belongs both to men and women. And the governance is meant for the whole nation. So we need in good governance a role model how everybody can benefit of this. So it's stated there in Paris that sport culture needs both men and women as local, national, and international decision makers in order to develop equally in accordance with the opinions, experiences, and interests of both men and women. And the goal is that as many as possible is engaged in sport culture. And all age groups and social groups should be represented. Next slide, please. What is good governance from the individual's point of view? I think that everybody who is taking part in the sport movement asks the question, what does my involvement really count? And then you have to take a look a little bit closer. What kind of norms direct the division of tasks? Are women working more than men, or vice versa? The exchange of information. Do everybody have the right to get information? And how is the information delivered? The expression on conflict opinions, isn't that a human right that you can tell to everybody what you are thinking about the leadership and strategies and so on? And the true influence different people have in decision making. Are we really equal in that process? Please, next one. Okay, I have been very many times asked that if there all are women, so are you then, Birgitta, happy? And I always answer no. I am not at all happy. I want to have it equal. So women's greater involvement as decision makers does not automatically guarantee more ethical, sensitive, and pedagogically more conscious activities. The main significance of women's involvement and the involvement of various other social groups is that we bring forth the ideas, values, and experiences of different people and increases their influence in decision making. This kind of development can bring about pluralistic and versatile activities based on various human needs. And yes, an authoritarian exercise of power is also unlikely in this kind of environment. You are all involved in the sport movement and doing important work. We sometimes are blind for our own structures and how resources are used. Next slide, please. Thank you. For me, has Sweden been always a role model country in equality? They have developed their own system, so-called Sweden's 3R method of equality. So they have developed it to increase the awareness among sport people of their own structures of resources and power. And its representation, who are the end users, the executive managers, the decision makers. Then they look at resources. How are resources allocated? Time, space, and money. And then the reality. What norms are in force? Is this in accordance with the goals of equality? So with this example, I like to tell you that there are different good examples existing, what you can use also in your process. It's important the ongoing education and follow-up at the national level is needed, absolutely. Please, next slide. Thank you. When it's needed, this education to follow up how the common strategy functions. So that's great that you have built the strategy, but you have to follow up how it works and what does it mean when the implementation is ongoing. And here is one example of 8 ladders for success. I know there are a lot of different possibilities to use different kind of methods to go through the common strategy. But when I was building up my first strategy for equality in my daily work, so then I used this picture of 8 ladders for success, because every step reminds me that I have to be carefully watching what has happened during this process. And there you have your dreams. What is the real goal? Build commitment towards your vision. And my vision has been a more equal sport movement. So this is just an example for you. Next slide, please. What has happened during the years? Sometimes a picture tells 1,000 times better the real life than written text. And here you can see what happens with monkeys. So this is a very, very good picture for me. And there you have the shared vision, common goals, committed group of professionals, resources, human and financial, and how to monitor the change. Strategy together and a network of action makers to implement the strategy. I underline that. Next slide, please. Responsibility of leaders. As I said, the main target is not a position to be a leader. It gives you an opportunity to influence. And you have to act at all levels and all sectors of the sport, including media. And nowadays, when we are using social media, so it's really powerful to forward your thoughts and to be inspired of discussions. And I was very happy to recognize that you have the governmental representatives already present from the beginning. Let them know how the process is ongoing and what is happening. You have to report them between the process as well. Build network and share experiences and best practices. Next slide, please. There is only one way to avoid criticism. Do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing. I refer to Aristotle. When you are in an important movement like sport, so everybody has to have the right to also to say critical words. And therefore, it's important that you organize power meetings and workshops where everybody can freely speak and also criticize those steps or those things what have been done. Responsibility to speak out loud. I underline be fearless and try not to avoid criticism. If everybody is saying yes, 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 it's good, it's sure that it's not good. Criticism is a step in my thinking for the better future. Next slide, please. I spoke about the education. So I have educated myself, of course, with my colleagues and so on. But the first very important step was in gender equality in the world of sport was the Brighton Declaration. It is the cornerstone of equality. Then it was 1998 organized. The next very important conference was in Helsinki 2014, where we went through the Brighton Declaration and added some important matters to that. On the left side, you see some pictures from Helsinki, and here on the right side, you see pictures of young people's and experienced people common group in Botswana 2018 in the IWG conference, which was organized in Gaborone. So this IWG network has played a very important role in my life, where I have got lot of new ideas. I have learned things, and I have also met new people around the world. Everything started in 1998 in Brighton. IOC conferences, which International Olympic Committee organized on women and sport, started 1996, and the last one was until now 2012 in Los Angeles. IOC decided to have a more strategical approach and created Agenda 2020, and it's now the leading paper. I wonder if you can see this gender equality booklet I am showing at the moment. Is that possible, my dear staff? Do you see this? Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes. So this
Yes.
Okay, that's fantastic. So this is IOC Gender Equality Review Project. And I am sure that you will get this. I think it would be very useful for everybody of you. Ask after this via IOC or your own NOC, Olympic Committee. And this is a very, very good booklet where you can see it's part of the 2020 agenda. And here are the clear, if you can see this again. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
There is 25 different recommendations in this IOC booklet. And there are sport in general, there are fundings, there are governance, portrayal, and how to monitor communications. So from this paper, you can find very, very good role models how to do this thing. Next slide, please. Nowadays, I used to say promoting equality is not just a matter of women, it's a common cause. Here on the left side, you can see it's taken 1998 in Athens, where we do have the Finnish team and wonderful woman, Irena Czewinska from Poland, the gold medalist and champion in many Olympic Games, and Dr. Anita White and some Finnish representatives. It has been the way how this equality work has been done. But it's true that without strong support, and now turn your eyes to the right side of the slide. So these two gentlemen, the one who is greeting me was our previous Prime Minister, Mr. Paavo Lipponen, and the dark guy in front of him is the honorary president of ENGSO, Bengt Sevelius from Sweden. Their support has been crucial for my career. And then under the next picture with these three ladies, and then in the middle, Mr. Carl Olof Homén, who was year 2000 the president of Finnish Sport Confederation. The lady on the left with red hair is our previous president, Madam Tarja Halonen, and lady from me left is our Speaker of the Parliament, Madam Riitta Uosukainen. And with this picture, I like to underline that use these high-level networks in your society to get your message through on the political level. So it's not only women's issue, it's a common issue. Then next slide, please. We spoke already about the IOC 2020 agenda. There you have also the link where you can find it. And IOC, when they took this alternative to this agenda 2020, so they decided to lead it in a strategical way. To increase the number of female athletes, yes, in next Olympic Games in Tokyo, it's quite equal. They have women's committees, they have different conferences, and more women in leadership positions. And they work in a strategical way for that. So next slide, please. Here is a very good model. I know it that in some countries, in Lithuania, for example, they have used this he for she ambassador. If you have really strong gentlemen, and you have in your country and a powerful sport people and powerful decision makers, you can ask them, could he be he for she ambassador in this your process, to highlight the role of the process. But together is the key word. Next slide, please. As you in your invitation mentioned, Council of Europe and European Union, what has happened during the last days? European Union and Madam Commissioner has decided to have this EU gender equality strategy forwards from 2021 to 2025. And that's why they have, and here you can see what for they are working. There is have equal opportunities to thrive and women's participation in sport, female coaches and so on, and in decision making. This everything what we have spoken during this morning already. And then gender-based violence is there, media coverage and so on. And they have now announced a high-level group, and please the next slide. You should have the names here. Yes, thank you so much. You have wonderful stuff there. High-level group of gender equality in sport. And here you can see the names who have been selected of more than 80 personalities who wanted to be member of the group. I am pretty happy to see so many talented female leaders and men leaders here in the group. So I believe that this will be a very, very good group to go further and advise what we want to have in gender equality on the EU level. And next slide, please. Now we are coming to a part which I really, it's important for me today. New generation of young women and men have the power to make great change if they can use their ideas and act. I have had the privilege to work with young and talented women and men. They have inspired me. They have opened my mind towards new ideas. I have been their mentor, and in return, they have mentored me. Courage is needed to allow change happen. My own personal commitment to the change is to share my knowledge, networks, and experiences. My expertise in leadership in sport has been created during more than 50 years. I have worked at every level in the sport, collected experiences and knowledge. I feel like it's my time to give back to younger ones. It's time for me to take, it's time for them to take a leading role. Experienced leaders, mentoring champions, how I like to call them, have silent wisdom to be shared. Next slide, please. It is the benefit of the sport movement that history, knowledge, networks, and insights are shared between new and more experienced leaders. And here you can see a picture. It's taken the right side in European Parliament, where you can see some younger people discussing with me. There is also the previous EU Parliament member, Mr. Takkula from Finland. On the left side, you can see excuse me, a picture of Mrs. Heidi Pekkola. I had the privilege to work with this young, talented female leader when I was ENGSO president. I know that also honorary president Carlos Cardoso has worked with her, and she is now the deputy director of EU EOC office, sport office in Brussels. She has been there 10 years already. She is a person with whom you can be in contact always and ask for advices and how to go further. She was a great support for me that time when I was ENGSO president. So we worked together, and I tried to mentor her, and she in return mentored me. Now I ask you, who is your mentoring champion? Are you a mentoring champion for someone? Think about that. You have a lot of knowledge. You can be a mentor too. Ethical and equal leadership includes knowledge sharing. Current sport leaders can be the champions for the new generation. My dream and goal is now that no one leader is left without a support from a champion. Next slide, please. Here you can see pictures of 30 talented young leaders around the Europe. Through knowledge sharing, several future leaders were able to come to Helsinki 2019 to the New Leaders Forum. And how was it possible? When I was awarded by the IOC, I thought the money has to be used in a clever way. In cooperation with IOC, EOC, and Finnish Olympic Committee, we organized 1 year-long education and mentoring project for 30 European talented leaders. And if you are carefully watching on this picture, you will find there a representative from Portugal, Mr. Pedro Diaz. Are you, Pedro, present probably today in this conference? I cannot hear that. And Pedro's mentor was Mrs. Filippa Cavalieri, and I saw that Filippa's name. I guess that you are, Filippa, present today. So you have great experience of this kind of mentoring program in your country. So you could create an own new leaders forum for the future with people who could work for the common strategy. So this story of the new leaders began 2017, and I hope it will continue. So that this Helsinki Forum, I hope it was not the last one. But if I can give a hint for you to Portugal, you could organize an own new leaders forum on the national level. Next slide, please. These new leaders had the opportunity to meet the most powerful leaders. I speak now of these two gentlemen here in front of the new leaders, President Bach and President Kocianskis. Sorry to say, he passed away for a time. Now there is an acting president, Niels Nygaard from Denmark, acting at the moment. But that time he was still with us. And there you see that these young leaders were invited by me in front and behind me. And then I asked these two powerful leaders to be with the young leaders. And then we got a common picture, because it was not planned at all that this kind of picture will be taken. And I recognized that, so I think that I have to organize. And now I come again to that use your own ideas. Don't always do so as somebody is telling to you. So I would like to welcome you all to be part of the team of change makers. Together we have made history, and together we can make the world of sport equal. Each of us have a role to play. Next slide, please. Dream, speak up, create tomorrow's sport culture today, be a leader and lead the change, and do that in full potential. In a democratic society, decisions on sport should be made in a democratic way. I think that decisions need to be transparent, and in the same way, financial considerations must not be hidden. We need to communicate openly about our decisions. Women and men must equally carry the responsibility for decisions that have been taken together. Dear friends in Portugal, once more, thank you very much for the great honor to be with you. I wish you good luck in the work, and thank you very much for your attention.